Exposed found out was, first of all, the site was taken down, and the second part was the site used to have a page when they stated that they fully vetted the models and everything, but after a period of time that page is removed.
If the site was using underage models, but they were marking them as adults, that would not really be his fault unless he was aware that they were children.
When you are specifically looking into young, porn, anything with young or teen in it, that's basically extremely high risk.
Get ready for some questions. Good morning everyone! Today's video, I'm going to be going over a recent interview that was held with the YouTuber Internet Adjacent and a person called Pixel, who, if you didn't know, was one of the people involved with co-writing the Google Doc expose against DAGames. To be fair, Pixel seemed to be one of the smarter co-writers involved in this, because they mainly disagreed with some of the weaker points made in it. I also want to say right now that this interview wasn't that interesting. I think there were some good parts that helped clarify the bigger points, but there were a lot of questions about KP, because Pixel did have work on the DAGame section of a video, but the issue is that I think it's commonly accepted that nobody liked that video, and of course, any rational person working on it would be really disappointed with how it came out. Either way, I think that's good that we got an update about a potential summarized Google Doc about the whole thing, which will be talked about at the end.
Alright everyone, today's an interesting video. So as a lot of you are aware, recently I made a video on DAGames and the accusations surrounding him, and kind of debunked some of the major ones. Well, what you guys...
I don't like that at all. He debunked some. No, you didn't. The only ones, the most you said was, oh, these parts I don't care about. They're dumb. They're made up. Not really debunked.
Might not know is that after said video came out,
I barely saw any, background research from him in his video.
One of the contributors to the doc and someone Kim interviewed in her video reached out to me so that we could have an interview. That person being Pixel. This person right here. Through conducting this interview, I learned a lot of very interesting and valuable information about DAGames, and I decided I'm going to share it with you guys. Over the course of this nearly 50-minute long conversation we had, I learned about the accusations that are no longer relevant, the accusations they are going to continue to investigate, and the behind the scenes when it came to Kim's video. Essentially, this video is going to go over just a lot of points from the interview, with my commentary input when necessary. Obviously, the whole interview and every question I asked won't be included, just the stuff I think is relevant. To be fair, I showed Pixel this interview before this is going up, so they also agreed that this is a fair thing to do.
If the interview was 50 minutes long and this was 30 minutes, I would have liked the 20 minutes.
A lot of this is just cutting out, stuttering and empty space and just questions that weren't really relevant. But before we get into that, you guys...
Unless it means all the dead air and stuttering was 20 minutes. In that case, yeah, fuck it.
You should subscribe so I can feed my family. It'd be pretty cool. So, like I said, this video is going mostly to consist of the clips from the interview with additional commentary when needed. Some of these questions, though, are self-explanatory. After that, though, I'm going to be summarizing the whole thing, as well as bring up some of the accusations I missed, and the accusations that need more context or have new info about them. Also, yeah, sorry if my mic sounds kind of echoey in this interview. I had to write...
So it does seem like, the Accuser, Pixel, will be pressing on him, for some stuff he fucked up, which I think is fine, right? Because that first video that he made about, debunking the allegations, I didn't like it at all. He was treating it very lightly and barely delving into it.
Rushed to set this whole thing up, so
I think I'm gonna be charitable, right? I think he missed the girlfriend part where Will was 23 and he had a 70-year-old girlfriend. Maybe it wasn't in the doc that he read, but that was a big part that people like Paulo really harked on, because yeah, that's weird.
If my audio is lacking, that's why. With that whole thing out of the way, enjoy, I guess. How did you feel about Kim's video? I was gonna say, after watching it, because you said you were involved, at least in...
That's not a good question, actually. How do you feel about Kim's video? Maybe if you said, if you asked how do you feel about the DAGame section, that would make more sense. But that video is so fucking awful that is entirely engulfed by the awful Cyberspark section. So, I don't know.
Somewhat in the production of it. So how did you feel after it had come out?
I was extremely disappointed. As I was in the interview section.
Exactly what I mean, yeah.
And I was basically the extent of our involvement, because there is Anon in there as well. And there are several, when she was showing us several versions and stuff, we made it a point, we're like, hey...
I will give this guy points, because he plays Call of Duty Infinite Warfare Zombies. I respect that.
Hey, you should remove the jokes and stuff. It kind of ruins the point. And she's like, well, I know what
are these actual DMs? Where's Pixel? At the end of the day, it's your video, and we're extremely unfortunate to be able to work with you. I do agree. Oh my... Wait, they called KP out for her awful jokes? Bro, that's funny. That's insane.
This is on part.
I mean, like, the points, the jokes were, like, the biggest points you hark on. But, like, even someone inside, in her team, backing up the video, criticizing that's so funny.
Channel, and she was really adamant on that. And so, at that time, we trusted her. But, that was obviously a mistake in retrospect, because this just turned out to be, like, a giant disaster on her behalf.
Is there anything you said in particular in regards to DAGames that you would like to take back that was in the video?
Anything in particular? I do want to clarify that I did not write the doc, Anon did. I was just kind of there for the end part of the process. So I did want to clarify that. Anything like in a video specifically I don't really like is, I think, that me complaining about like the fan art rule, like compared to everything else that isn't as important. I think that should have been cut, or a redirect or something. And then I think the stuff with his former partner Chloe should have been removed, because I did actually have DMs with Chloe, and while they did confirm they were 17, they did not say it was grooming or anything, and they did share like other details with me that
Okay, I like that part. Actually, that's interesting. Yeah, it's like very similar to like the Black Griffin stuff. Where I think with DAGames, you can call him a groomer because once again, his partner is very close to being of age. They're not a child. They can make their own choice. But I think you can definitely make a point on how having your partner be that young with a 6-year age gap, that should be called out as weird, I feel like.
I did not get permission to
I'm guessing like in the video or like Pixel's doc that she wrote with Anon, like they really hooked on him being a groomer, which of course is the wrong way to go about it. Just calling him weird would be fun enough.
So I would have had those two things removed at least.
And when you say you weren't the one who wrote the doc, you're referring to the one that I went over in that new video, correct?
The DA doc, not the defense one.
No, I know. I'm talking about the initial one, the one that was.
Wait, so this guy, Internet Jason, he read the doc, and that part had the girlfriend section included. Oh my god! When that's really bizarre, because I have no idea. Because in this video, he didn't go over it, which he should have. If he saw it was weird, he would have said, yeah, this is fucked up. If he didn't like it, he would have been like, okay, this part is a nothing burger. So did he gloss over it? I have no idea.
And use a lot of key points that were in Kim's video.
Yes, I did not write that one. When I found out, so me and the person who wrote it have like a bit of a history. But long story short, by the time we started talking again, I found out about it, and it was basically done. And there weren't really that many edits made. But personally, I think there are a lot more things that should have been removed or made more clear and concise.
So, the grooming claim was probably the most serious one that has been made against Will, and it's essentially now been fully debunked. Will has never groomed anyone IRL. That claim is no longer relevant, and it's just going to be dropped, I guess. Okay, that's fair. See, this is why, I recommend Paulo's video first and foremost, because in that one, I don't think he ever said the word grooming, but he definitely made the argument, on how it's immoral, also much more weird, because bear in mind, right, a 6-year age gap, it's a bit iffy, Like 6 years, it's not that weird, but with the age range of being 17 and he being 23, yeah, that's bizarre.
You were only in that video for the...
What's the question actually?
And it's just going to be dropped, I guess.
How did you feel about the Cyberspark stuff? I don't care about this. I didn't like it. Wow, just like everyone else, they hated it.
You were only in that video for the DAGames stuff. What did you feel about the Cyberspark stuff?
When KP found out about like the Cyberspark stuff, she told us, and then because we had a group chat.
I don't really care about this part.
With her, she was like, "Oh, I have something really bad on Cyberspark." And this time it's
coming into this, I want to see what parts they retract. Because when I didn't look over the whole document. However, I did watch Paulo's video, which I think did a good job, going over the big parts. I think allegedly, 80% of the document, which is fluff, just nothing at all, but that 20%, like the lolly stuff, the weird jokes, and his young girlfriend, that part, the actual worrying sections, As opposed to I think it was a long ass document, and most of that was just nothing burgers, just bullshit.
And she responded with a meme, and I think we should have.
Wait, what was that actually? Go back. Was that?
And it's time.
Was that Stewie Griffin?
It's a crime, and she responded.
Wait, yikes! Thought she was on the good side of things for a bit. Guess not. Oh my god. Wait, what does that say? So I'm blocking the caption. I hate this place. Yes.
And I think we should have took at that point that she wasn't going to take this seriously. She told me at least that there was evidence at least proving that they interacted with each other, but I was under the expectation that this would have been shown in a video or at least something more than a testimony. But clearly that did not happen.
I feel bad for these people, because, bear in mind, KP did have some, claim to fame from her Lily Orchard video. Like, that was the last big piece she made, and to my understanding, everyone liked it, this all was good. So I feel so bad for Pixel, coming forward with these allegations, this expose, and is like at the worst time possible, was being overshadowed by the much worse hit piece made against Saber Spark. God.
Did you see the clip where she admits that she...
Like, if any big person, covering this did a good job at it, it would have been fucking massive.
Right, that testimony?
Oh yeah, so I used to be a head mod for her, and at one point she did actually come to me and ask her to help her write something because she couldn't think of anything, and she said help me write an introduction to the victim statement. So I was under the impression it was like for a section to bring the victim in, but I was not aware at the time that like she was fully just writing the statement for them as well. I believe someone else went over and saw that like the editing history that she suggested that certain things be put in there and stuff, and overall I think that's just very disgusting behavior. You shouldn't be manipulating a testimony like that.
So
I like that, I agree, yeah.
Do you think she might have done that for malicious reasons? Because that's what it definitely came across.
Yes, definitely.
I think so. I think to an extent it was like she already had a gripe on Saber Spark, so it just made sense to already twist it to fit the narrative. What another gripe I have is she never went to law enforcement about this. She was telling us they were finding out the best way to...
See, now if Pixel made a video about this, that would have been really good actually. No, so I mean, if Pixel was an actual YouTuber, like much bigger than KP, like they would have been smart actually
to deal with this. Which again was probably like another lie, because again
they sound very similar to like Live Convoy, where like when they heard about it, they were like, okay, so there's no police report, fine, don't fucking touch it.
Heavily doubt someone of law enforcement would have condoned her making a video about this if they were ever doing an investigation about it.
So I already knew about Kim admitting to help write the victim statement. I was just entirely unaware though of how much influence she had over this.
Okay.
But at least in terms of the original doc.
Yeah, this section also sort of like a nothing burger.
She had over this.
Because if you like it really depends on how you hear about it. Like if you hear someone call like a grooming, you'd be like, I can't really get behind that, because the grooming victim is a pretty mature person. Like they're nearly 18, being 17, right? So they can definitely make their own statement, being like, no, I wasn't groomed. Yeah.
But at least in terms of the original doc.
So I want to see, like, did Pixel write that part, or like were they just supervising it? Maybe
the grooming or like pedophilia accusation is false.
It seems like the other person, Anon, was doing like most of the heavy lifting potentially.
Yeah, pretty much, because we never said, well, not we, but they never said that he groomed anyone. They were very close to, but I advised them like we don't have any evidence for this. You can't claim that. At like especially with the Chloe stuff, I'm like at most it's weird. While it is legal, I do think it's weird, but that's not pedophilia. And then also I think the person who wrote the defense doc, they were claiming I was saying he sent stuff to minors, which is something I never said. I said he was putting things in a place where it was easily accessible to minors, so I don't think he ever went out of his way to send stuff to people like that, like the way people are framing it as.
Okay, so far it seems like it seems that Pixel is way smarter and didn't get behind that.
So let's expand on that. Is there an example of this happening?
I want to see the actual Anon, the writer behind this, kick her fronted. They seem like way more slimy, actually.
One of my friends who's also 21, was in the DAGame server and had access to the NSFW room, and she had a screenshot dating back to 2019. Like the screenshot is dated from 2019, which would have made them a minor at the time that this was accessible.
This would have made who a minor?
So my friend Freaky, she used to be a really like long time DAGames.
So go back a second. Is that in general or NSFW?
Dating back to 2019.
Oh yes, NSFW.
Accessible.
This would have made who a minor?
So my friend Freaky, she used to be a really like long time DAGames fan, and she was in a server for like way before I was. I think like since 2016. And the NSFW channel was removed in 2020 because one of the moderators realized how bad minors getting in there was, and basically like really pushed for it to get removed because of that.
Fair enough. Yeah, like even like for someone like there's a very minor point I have against DAGames, but I was get behind it. I think if you have a Discord and you have like a majorly young fan base, you should do your due diligence, when verifying minors or users, before they get to the NSFW part of your Discord. I mean, I'm not sure like how the process works, I feel like just sending an ID would be enough, maybe, I feel like.
You're saying he put this in
like
place where
him and his mods couldn't even do that at bare minimum.
Minors can see it, but the chat is named.
Also, again, from my perspective, right, I'm not a big of like a Discord user, but like, why do you need like an NSFW chat in a DAGames Discord? Why?
NSFW chat. Doesn't that kind of seem... I mean, if the chat is specifically for NSFW, and like, is there an example of him like openly just welcoming minors into this chat?
That's another thing that like gets misconstrued. I don't.
So I have to go. I want to say like what the question was again, real quick. Sorry. Were minors allowed in the NSFW chat?
So you're saying he put this in a place where minors can see it, but the chat is named NSFW chat. Doesn't that kind of seem... I mean, if the chat is specifically for NSFW, and like, is there an example of him like openly just welcoming minors into this chat?
That's another thing that like gets
What a weird way to put it.
misconstrued. I don't. It's not a case of him like openly welcoming minors. This NSFW chat was in his fan server, which there were several minors in who stated their age. One of our main gripes with this is...
Oh shit, now that's even worse. If they state their age and like they still like, come right in, I think that's fucked actually. That's really lazy.
because the only
If you don't want to verify their age with like an ID proof, fine, whatever. I mean, it's still bad. But if you're fully aware of their age and you still invite them in, that's fucked.
age vetting that they had was the built-in Discord feature, which is, as you know, is easily spoofable. And there was
I'm thinking, would that be bare minimum on their side? Maybe, I feel like.
no other manual vetting done to assure that these people were of age. Like I said again, it got so bad to the point that they did have to just remove the chat entirely.
But doesn't that also, once again...
Again, like, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to just, like, like, ask them for, like, an ID check, and that would be enough. It should be that easy, I feel like.
I kind of got, like, against...
And I'm saying that, with, like, no Discord modding experience. So, once again, correct me if I'm wrong.
the claim? Because if they were, like, just openly, like, fine with this happening, why would they have gotten rid of the chat?
It's because it just took so much effort to get rid of it in the first place, and the fact that he had, like, several minors as moderators, and just never really acknowledged the fact that, that this happened and that this was just a very large lapse in judgment that he made.
I thought the mods that were minors weren't allowed to see into that chat.
So what I believe this is captured in the Google Drive. While we did end up talking to Sugi, and she doesn't recall that. However, there was a screenshot showing the opposite, that she had at least access to the mature chat at the
Oh, that's fucked.
time. So there was at least a period of time where...
So like, how lazy do you have to... How careless do you have to be as DAGames? Do you have a kid as a mod? And furthermore, give them access to an NSFW chat. Wait, so is Shugi the 13-year-old or 11-year-old? In both ways, they're incredibly young. Insanely young.
that was the case, and that did happen.
What's up with the claim about pedos and not being acknowledged?
So in regards to the whole claim of, like, pedophiles not being removed from the server.
Yeah, I think this kind of goes back to you say, like, what else I would have removed if I written it. I would have also removed that point, because I think KP kind of like twists the words here. It wasn't the fact that they weren't removed, it's the fact that nobody was notified that any of this was happening. The Anon who wrote the doc was unfortunately taken advantage of by someone who was in the community. So you can see where they would be a bit tiffed when they see several people who were in there who may have groomed an individual, or in one case had possession of CP. And
I mean, to defend DAGames, or to defend his mods for a second, I feel like they wouldn't want you like call him a pedo, because that would kick up way too much dirt. They can easily kick him out, very easily, right? But you call him a pedo, that would spread a lot of drama. But I do agree, with a fucking Pixel or Anon, that, they should be warned a little bit. Because even if they're kicked out, they can probably make friends at that server and then contact them, via DMs. That's worrying, I feel like. I think from what I saw, they blew it up to be much, much worse. But I think, that should be like a small correction.
they were...
Yeah, but I feel like most servers do that, where they investigate someone and they just kick them out with literally no warning.
simply just gone without a trace and nobody said anything. So I think that's more on them, just kind of wanting public awareness on the fact that when you don't say anything, people aren't aware that something's wrong with these individuals and to stay away from them.
Yeah,
I think most Discord servers, including DAGames, they should give people a warning, because if you have a server with mainly kids, they ought to be warned.
I get that, but you understand how unreasonable of an expectation it is for them to publicly shame every single person they ban for that, right?
I understand that, and that's another reason I say
No, it can't be that. I mean, if they wait, what? So what'd you say?
I would have.
For them to publicly. Yeah, I get that, but you understand how unreasonable of an expectation it is for them to publicly shame every single person they ban for that, right?
I understand that.
No, it's not that hard, is it? I mean, it's not really shaming, it's just more warning people. I mean, if they look into them, enough to be like, okay, yeah, they're a pedo, then, it should be easy as well to just, call them out in the server. Can't be that hard.
And that's another reason I said, like,
Is that really unreasonable?
I would have removed that section because it's a company, unless I understand, like, in certain circumstances, why they wouldn't do it, but also, I also understand, like, feeling upset and not feeling seen because you're finding out about things because no one made or no one.
That's what I want to say real quick. I feel, I do feel bad for Anon if they came from like a place of trauma. However, I think a good, biased, cold person, that's cold as like very, just fact orientated. I think someone like that should write the document because stuff like that, does get smeared and painted in, in trauma and bias. So I will say that actually.
Informed you that this person was dangerous or.
Does anyone of the current information, including the lolly, make Will a pedo?
So in regard.
Okay, this is what I don't like that question. Like, I'm not going to call anyone, a pedo because they own lolly art. However, I will call them weird and questionable.
In regards to the accusation of him being like, just in general, like a pedophile or any of that, is any of that with the current evidence that's available a true allegation?
I think anyone who calls like people like that a pedo, they don't care about the argument. They want to slander the person and ruin them. Like it creates no room for argument. Because is he a pedo? Because of lolly art, probably not. That's a serious accusation that can't go that far. But like at most, just call them weird. I'll get behind that.
I think that word, like, nothing is said outright. The main wording is that he did look at lolicon content. We at least identified 2 different artists that he reposted that specialize in that, enjoying that sort of thing. And so he is on record viewing that multiple times, and he is also on record like accidentally flashing a porn link on stream that specifically catered to having younger models.
Yeah, okay, I want to say real quick, when I first watched that part from DAGAmes, when I watched that part from Internet Jason, I was like, oh, I don't care about that. However, I'm willing to walk it back. I think if someone's looking up young teen porn, that's fucked up actually. Like this guy, Internet Jason. Wait, that's so funny as well. Hold on. Did you guys remember in his video, he'd been like, oh, it turns out, I looked into the website and turns out, oh, when they mean teen porn, they mean very young girls over 18. That sort of stuff. I think that's bullshit. If you have to actively look up, the word teen in porn to, get your rocks off, that's fucked up. That's weird. I'm sorry.
I mean, because
just look up normal porn, you freak.
If you saw the video,
I want to see Pixel like push back on that. I feel like most people, would question that.
I agreed that him.
Like I see, like stuff like that, oh, teen porn. It's somewhat common on Pornhub, but you actively look it up and have it on your fucking, search bar. It's like the most common searches. I think that's wild. I think that's gross. I'm sorry.
Because the claims that he used the lolly to test the NSFW bot, and my stance was. My stance was even if that is true. My stance was even if that is true, it doesn't really matter because it's weird regardless. That point, even if that's not the case, it wasn't really proven in the Google Doc.
Yeah, so there's a reason. Actually, this version is getting basically just a revamp. That's just straight up like everything, just evidence and all, without like any of that, like without any like holes in it. It was not used to test a bot.
What is this? Who is this? Hey, it's been a bit of just a check situation on a whim, and I keep seeing a saying coming up about actually the lolly stuff was to test a bot, and like obviously it goes without saying, but I can tell you with certainty that no, it's not true. I mean, yeah, that was clearly not the case. He posted like nearly 40 images. How was that test? Anyway, the only fucking goddamn captions, fuck you. The only bots that were ever in this server were regular ass Discord bots, like Kawaii bot, and then a random bespoke bot that Alex Flipno made for the server that was playing music and stuff. And at no point was anything ever mentioned about a bot that pick up on inappropriate posts. Whatever.
And it wasn't the same server, and it wasn't used to post a bot. It was just posted in the context.
I'm so that's so fucking okay, so no matter like which way you go about it, it makes no fucking sense. It's disgusting. Right, so you want to test out a bot, why post lolly stuff? Why would you actually look up, on like fucking weird websites that, lolly stuff and copy and paste it, or even worse, save it on your computer? It's fucking disgusting either way. Just find like normal porn, you freak.
Of sharing like NSFW with each other. Okay. And his fan server also had the same Discord age gate with no vetting.
I mean, if there's like definitive evidence of him doing this, of him retweeting lolly artists, I mean, that's kind of like indefensible. So I mean, if that exists, that.
So what's the difference, between like reposting them and then sharing the images on Discord? It's a very thin line. I feel like they're almost interchangeable.
Probably be
And I believe Exposed has like screenshots showing of people who were in the DAGames chat saying they were seeing lollies and stuff in the DAGames NSFW server. And I can
Is
try
that
to find
him
those
posting that,
later.
or is that other people in the server posting it?
It's not really clear in a specific screenshot.
I thought it was DAGames.
Find it. It's clear like that, at least in that specific scenario, like people were still posting that sort of content.
Yeah.
And
Also, in my opinion, I think that people who post lolly stuff on Discord, even like in the NSW chat, they should be banned immediately. I'm sorry. Is that a wild belief? Is that a hot take?
that was somewhat normalized.
Well, my question is, was that content?
So go back and say, wait, did she say that it was normalized?
That was in that specific scenario, like people were still posting that sort of content.
Yeah.
And that was somewhat normalized.
Well,
Okay,
my
that's true,
question-
it became normalized and other people were sharing it. That's fucking gross, dude. Jesus.
Was that content like permitted to be there, or was it removed?
From what I'm aware, like the fact that people talked about it so much, like, hold on, let me forward this. Like, even when people did bring it up, it wasn't really like shot down or anything. I don't know how to word this.
He never interacted with someone underage or any of that, correct?
Right, we never claimed that, and
The
we're not
fuck?
pushing
No,
that.
I want to hear more. I want to hear more of that question. The lolly stuff.
Narrative. As far as we're
So it seems like Pixel is claiming that the lolly stuff wasn't shot down immediately. However, it was up around enough for people to talk about it. Yeah, I think that's fucking gross.
he never did that.
Okay.
So let's clear this
I
up.
get it. When you foster like a young fan base and you take them to a Discord and you have like that kind of stuff floating around, that's fucking disgusting. Just train your mods, keep an eye out for that and ban the people immediately. Is that so hard?
From what evidence exists, it definitely appears as though Will posted lolly in a Discord server. That seems to be a proven fact. My issue with this and how it was presented in
Okay, I want to hear this part.
the document
Again, I don't like this guy that much, and I have no shit against him, but I did not like his video because he went for like all like the lolly stuff and the weird jokes, and he was still like, this is a nothing burger.
is that while it is very damning, I feel as though if additional context would be provided, it could make him look worse. It's already bad enough. I feel like additional context could make him look even worse. Now, they do claim to be looking more into the lolly claim, so maybe more will come about this. But as it currently stands, though, my position is that it's a weird thing that happened, and it might be worse than that, given the context that will hopefully be provided. Whether he jerks off to lolly porn or not, it doesn't matter because it's a weird thing regardless to be sent around. But if he is jerking off to it, then it's infinitely worse.
I don't care. Wait, what? I don't care if he jacks off. I want this guy condemned. What do you mean? I don't care about you if he jacks it off.
I saw in the comments of,
Wait, what do you want from that question? The only person you can ask for that is just DAGames, or if you get like an insider to expose them privately. I don't care either way. If he's sharing around, and he has that stuff in percent. I'm sorry, if he's like looking it up, to copy and paste it on Discord, that's fucked up enough. I don't care to looking deeper into his sex life and see what turns him on. I don't want to see that.
my video that people were trying to defend the lolly stuff by saying it's not real children or it's not illegal, I guess. If that's your stance, you're weird. You're a weird person.
Okay, he's pretty based. If you like that stuff, you're weird. Fair enough. They came edit the call. I don't give a fuck about. Wait, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna walk it back real quick. I think he's bringing up these questions because he made a video about the KP situation. No, he did. Okay, I walk it back. I guess this is relevant somewhat. No, but the video is called An Interview with DAGames Accuser. I want to hear about that stuff first and foremost.
Chris was a big point of contention when it came to DAGames and Saberspark. One of the
Wait, was he? Wait, Chris was part of the DAGames stuff and I mean, he was part of Saberspark stuff, but was he part of like the DAGames stuff as well?
big points about that is that like Kim got into a call with this person, and he admitted to doing all the terrible shit that he did, but apparently they left on good terms. Going through Saber's video and going through Kim's video, the calls that are present, it's the same call in both videos, but they're like one of them's cut off. It's the same call, but like someone has edited it to fit their like narrative. Was that Kim or was that?
Oh, that was Kim. So that call is linked back to the aficionado Chris's safety report, which is something she basically had someone on her who was on her team at the time write. And the full call was like 20 minutes or so. I can see if I can send that to you later, but she obviously cut it to fit in her video and didn't make it and didn't put in a disclaimer or anything that it was edited down for time or anything like that. And it's also noted that she did record the call without his consent as well, which is not something like obviously we condone or anything like that. But yeah, she's the one who cut it.
And was that just a time thing, or did she have some other kind of like motive about it?
Yeah. Again, I actually cut KP off about a month ago because it just we had a falling out. But yeah, I personally don't want to put words into her mouth, and I don't want to assume. But the fact that that some that it's clear that like the call was cut up and stuff, it does give me a very bad taste in my mouth.
Oh, sorry.
As of right.
Oh, fuck, sorry.
And stuff, it does give me a very bad taste in my mouth.
As of right now, what are the relevant accusations again? Okay, I want to see this part.
As of right now, what exactly?
Because so far, it seems that Pixel is like, a much more reliable narrator for this stuff.
As DA.
Like, they're not biased, they're purely, judgmental. They're purely interested, in what's going on, and they want to expose that.
The game's done.
They don't seem vindictive, is what I mean.
What is give me like a condensed list of everything he's done.
So condensed list is he viewed Lolly, he irresponsibly managed an NSFW channel. And currently we're investigating if he, because...
Wait, so hold on, I'll go back a second. So this guy made a video about the accusation, and now he's still like, okay, fuck that noise. What's the condensed version? Grok, what's the summary of this?
One of the...
Grok, can you put this in Fortnite terms?
Porn links he looked that is shut down and has like a lot of red flags on it, so we're looking into that right now.
So what was that? Go back a second.
And just shut down, and because one of the porn links he looked at is shut down.
Oh my god. One of the porn websites was shut down. Do you have an idea how rare that is? Like you have to post some really fucked up shit or to be banned. Like I'm not gonna claim any wild shit, but like I will say maybe some police department investigated it and took it down. Jesus.
And has like a lot of red flags on it, so we're looking into that right now. And just generally just being irresponsible with his fan base.
That's fair. Yeah, exactly. In my first video learning about this, like that was the same take. He looked up some weird stuff. He shared it, and he managed his Discord fucking horribly. Did we look at a website containing porn of people who are? I hate this point. It's a nothing point. Okay, do we know? Okay, we are. The only evidence we have right now is a screenshot of a stream he did where like the first or second search result was teen porn, and that was it. I'm not gonna look up what porn he viewed exactly because there are thousands. However, I will say I can definitely claim that you're weird if that gets your rocks off. If you have to actively look up teen porn, that's fucking weird. I'm sorry.
So you're talking about the teen porn thing, because from what I'm hearing about that, and guaranteed I haven't looked at it myself, I'm hearing it's of girls who are like barely legal, which I mean is a weird category of porn, but it wouldn't be like pedophilia.
So what
we're being very charitable with the term pedophilia.
Exposed found out was
like he's over 23, right? He's around that age, and he's looking up teen porn. Do we want to be charitable to him?
First of all, the site was taken down, and the second part was...
Okay, I want to see... Please, have me Pixel, push it back on this. They have to, right? Like, this part's dumb. I get no offense against them, but, if you have to make that a question, I feel like you're looking over, the bigger issue, the bigger first issue.
The site used to have a page where when they stated that they fully vetted the models and everything, but after a period of time, that page is removed. And the only thing they had left was saying all models were...
I'm sorry, wait, go back. The porn website said that they vetted the models. No, I don't believe it for shit.
18 plus. And what happens is people see the all models were 18 plus and fully run with it, but ignore the fact that the site is gone, and they removed the fact that they stated that they vetted the models, and they removed the fact that you could report if you see something that you shouldn't shouldn't be on there. Okay. Which is, yeah.
Here's my problem with that. I have two problems with this.
Okay. Please be a good take.
Is that if the site was using underage models, but they were marking them as...
I don't care. If he looks up teen porn, that's fucked up enough.
As adults, that would not really be his fault unless he was aware that they were children.
Yeah, that's...
Again, I don't care. If he has to look up teen porn to get his rocks off, that's fucked up enough.
True, but
Just look at normal porn.
The problem is when you look at... when I was doing some research into this, when you are specifically looking into young, porn, anything with young or teen in it, that's basically extremely high risk.
Exactly, yes.
Because that's where that's when majority of people get trafficked, or that's where majority.
Yeah, and I understand that, but
let's go. Exactly my point.
It's as I'm saying. If they're saying it's adults, you would need to prove that he was aware they weren't.
Right, that's true.
I don't care, you know, if he looks okay, he's not just like, you know, like, oh, maybe he came about that website, you know, from some other means. Even I don't buy it. Well, okay, maybe he looks good, right? If you know, jacking off to other stuff, and he, you know, he came across that website with the teen porn, and he didn't look it up. Even I don't buy that. Like, is that you know, his search results, teen porn?
And my second point about this, and this is I said this during my, like, when I was reviewing Kim's video. If it really was believed that this was porn, why was it censored and put in the Google Doc? Why was it censored and put in the video? I understand the importance
So what'd you say?
of it if it is child porn, but at the same time, that should just go straight to the police.
We're working on reporting it right now, and then also that's another like gripe I have is that just the censoring is so poor, and we don't want.
That's what I will say, guys. Please don't look up the Google Doc, you know, exposing them, because they did a fucking awful job censoring this stuff. If you have like any like sense of humanity, it would just be sickening. Okay, I'm guessing like the other person, Anon, did the censoring, and if they did, you did an awful job at it. I'm sorry. It was fucking piss poor.
Want to like do things until we're 100.
Like they censored it, they censored, you know, like the actual all that parts, right? But they didn't, you know, censor everything. I guess, you know, to show like that it was porn, whatever.
% certain.
But like, even then, it was just so fucking awful.
Yeah.
And
I don't wanna glaze Parlo, but like in this video, he blocked out, you know, the major parts. Like a good 80% was censored, and that was good enough. I liked it.
so yeah, that was a problem with like the main doc as well. It's just
Because even if it's not heavily censored, you know, DAGames can come out, you know, and contest that very easily, you know, and say like, it wasn't porn or lolly, whatever.
a lot of the censoring, especially like for the logging stuff, was just so poor. Like I want to let you know, like I'm not pleased with that at all. Like if this ever gets fixed, I'm gonna make sure it's fully censored and, you know, it's not some poorly thing.
Yeah.
I'm personally not a fan of how KP put it in her video. I don't think that was necessary.
Yeah, because that was why.
Wait, no. Don't fucking tell me KP grabbed the images from Google Doc and put that in her video, like with the minimal censoring. That's careless. That's reckless. No.
When I was going over it, I didn't even show it in my video because I was like, they're saying it is. I don't think it is based on what I've seen, but even if it is, why would I put this in the video? That does nothing but fuck me over down the road. But her argument is that this was child porn, and she was okay with putting that in her video. I think that's probably the most baffling thing, honestly.
I agree. Okay, you know, for one, I agree with this
If
guy.
you want my honest opinion about that.
I'm sorry, I can't get over that point, you know, him really harking on the actual age of the models. I don't care about that part. I think that part was very dumb. But I agree with him in this section.
Because, like, even if it's not child porn, the fact that she kind of, like, implicated it was, and was still fine with putting it in her video, was just an interesting creative choice.
Yeah, I agree. Like that and the lolly shouldn't have been put in there.
But that's why I feel like that...
Wait, so how many people watched that video live on air? Like, there were people who watched the archive, you know, after. Oh my god, those poor bastards. I think Nicholas Yoro watched some part, but I think thankfully he skimmed over it, you know. He went over the part that showed all that stuff, so thank god.
Go straight to the authorities.
Yeah, I believe the exposed person and at least 2 other people actually did like attempt to contact UK authorities. A lot of us are Americans, so that just makes it very difficult.
Yeah.
Especially because, you know, lolicon is illegal in the UK. And when Exposed made it public that they went to the police, a lot of people were upset, which obviously confused them because they're like, okay, well, lolicon is illegal in the UK. He was shown posting it. If that's a problem, if that's clearly illegal, then yeah, you should go to the police. Why are you upset that, you know, we did the proper thing?
Good point. I agree. Good fucking point.
Thanks.
Did the Saber stuff ruin the video, or was it just in bad in general? Wait, what? Oh, what a very simple question.
When commentary YouTubers were covering...
I get nothing against this guy, but you know, like, these are very simple questions.
Yes, they really...
Did you like the Saberspark section? Yeah, nobody liked it.
We're just like skipping over the DAGames part and just going to the Saberspark stuff. Do you think if she only focused on the DAGames stuff that the video would have been better?
That's inclined. She removes her jokes and the rant sona and everything. Yeah. If she did video with like the proper cadence and the proper research, I think it would have been better. Because like you said again, like there are valid things, you know, to be critiqued here.
I'm sorry, go back. Bro, he's getting molested in Zombies.
Stuff that they've done, but now that's...
What a fucking pull. I'm sorry. I miss playing these games. It was so good.
Overshadowed because she made such a blatant Saberspark. She made it such a blatant accusation about Saberspark.
If you're doing any interviews, like, bro, Mr. Enter, if you're watching, please fucking have some gameplay like this. You have no fucking idea how people like me get bored quickly when it's just, you know, a simple Discord screen.
Admitted she didn't have...
I love this shit.
To back that up, and that's just that...
And then later admitted she helped write the accusation.
I know, and then threatened the person as well. It's the whole mess.
Yeah. So let's say hypothetically she didn't take out like the jokes and stuff. Would the video just be as shit?
Pretty much. I think it still would have been, because you're talking about the possibility. You're talking the possibility of, you know, having minor fans being exposed to things they shouldn't have been because of irresponsible behavior, and, you know, posting illegal content that you shouldn't have, and you're posting Disney memes next to it. Like, that still negates that. Like, that still makes it look like shit.
What was it?
Is there
I think now we're wrapping up.
anything you would like to say? I guess like any statements in general.
I just really encourage people to do their own research and not just take one perspective and just completely run with it, but also like don't take things that just have no backing towards it. I think I mentioned to you prior that the person who wrote the defense doc wrote that completely based off of a leaked DM that he saw, admitted that he got it from someone, wouldn't say
And you know, to make it clearer, I haven't seen that defense talk at all.
who it was from, and like just double wouldn't tell me who it was from or anything, but still kept it in and then try to backpedal, like, and then people are just taking everything they say as gospel, but they get a lot of things wrong in their own thing, and, you know, there are issues with with the doc that's going around too. So it's just, I just heavily encourage people to, you know, look at stuff themselves, ask questions, and still like stay open-minded. Because this is, I don't think this is really like a full-on black and white situation either, because obviously,
I mean, from my point of view, I think it's black and white very easily.
again,
And the second you have like lolly stuff in it, it becomes very, very black and white.
you know, there is possibly some context we are missing, or like, you know, we're not Will, we don't know what he was thinking. So we don't want to, you know, fully say, oh, he was doing this, oh, he was doing.
I mean, from my point of view as like a commentary channel, right, this would be very easy to command, because when it comes to lolly stuff, most people would fucking disavow it immediately, and all that stuff is being included in here.
Yeah. Or, you know, you don't want to just,
Like, the Saber Spark stuff would be very grey, you know. Either you would believe it from Emily Jones, or you wouldn't. That would be grey. This DAGame stuff, no, it's very black and white, in my opinion.
what I'm saying, long story short, is just don't run on assumptions. Don't run on assumptions. Don't just take one person's word on anything. Look at stuff yourself and just ask questions, and just generally also be respectful, because people have been genuinely like very mean and vile to each other over this, and it's really disheartening to see, especially when there is room for civil discourse.
Did Kim and, oh my god, did Kim, these are very easy questions. Yeah, no shit.
Do you think because of
Is water blue?
how Kim handled this situation, and do you think how the Bernie fandom Twitter
I feel like, you know, if Pixels really, you know, deep into this, I can probably look up their Twitter and like see like their own statement on this. Because, bro, imagine like giving your own like research and effort into a video and it fucking blows up horribly wrong. Of course, she would definitely make a statement. Oh, they sorry.
account handled the backlash, I guess is the way to say it. Do you think that anything will come of the everything against DAGames?
I
I didn't really like the interview, so I mean we got 5 minutes left, right? But I didn't like it that much.
genuinely
I want to see like Pix like push back on the team porn section.
don't know, because like I said again, this has technically been going on for 2 years and nothing has happened still. So I don't want to say, oh, nothing's gonna happen, but I also don't want to flat out say something is gonna happen.
Bro, this has been going on for 2 years. One of the biggest gaming channels, you know, that's like, you know, on the same par as like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, it's been going on for 2 years and like, nobody gives a shit at all. That's insane.
It's just kind of like, we'll see. I would like, you know, an acknowledgement
Bro, if someone like Most Cool made a video about this, he would be torn to shreds.
and an explanation for certain things. But again, at this point, I'm not certain if that's gonna happen.
If you would say something to Kim right now, what would it be?
If you could
What the fuck? What do you mean?
say
That makes no sense. Because Kim and Pixel, you know, they have a line of contact. They clearly talked on bro. They probably fucking fought on Discord, you know, after the video came out. So that would make sense, you know, for someone smaller who's never talked to KP. But Pixel and her, they have.
something to Kim possible right now, what would it be?
I guess if I were to say something again, because we already
I guess, you know, maybe like KP blocked them potentially. I don't
had
know.
another falling out, but
These questions are not that good. I'm sorry.
I mean, we trusted you, and you said you would handle things the way you saw fit, and clearly that was not done well. And on top of that, actually I can say this, and on top of that, you know, when the first blunder happened, you said it was an easy fix. I'm honestly just like appalled by that mindset, and the fact you still think that this is salvageable. I think at this point, you just need to like accept the fact that you messed up, and you should have handed this off to authorities at the beginning and not make this like a part of your hit piece. And honestly, I'm just like fully disappointed at your behavior at all of this, especially like since you're supposed to be like the grown, experienced adult, and you're making childish mistakes like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause isn't she like 30? I looked that up. Is that actually like she's actually 30? That's wild. That is the craziest part I've seen so far.
Yeah, I was also her head mod, so if anyone wanted to ask her any questions regarding that too, I can try to answer those.
So I think that's
Again,
about
bear in
everything
mind, like this seems like a fucking colossal mistake. Because bear in mind, right? She gained credibility from the Lily Orchard video, and people seem to respect her. So if someone as close to her as a head mod couldn't see this blunder, then yeah, it was fucking a pure stroke of luck. Sorry, not stroke of luck, just a horrible disaster out of nowhere.
Have for now though.
So I take that back. I think it was like a very deep seed of hatred, that just blew up randomly in that video. I think she would have made a blunder, in this shape or form eventually at some point.
All right.
Maybe not about Saberspark, but definitely about him. But she would wait for the right time to try to expose him and tear him down.
And like I said, we are trying to make
like,
it
like nobody, like Pixel could see it until now.
a better, like more, because again, First Doc has a lot of issues. So, the author's not working on it anymore. So we're trying to make it more concise and easy to follow, because that was another critique that we got.
Yeah.
So if that ever gets finished,
when you
I'll
say
support it
you
as
mean
well.
the anonymous person that was in the video, right?
Right. They are not native English, so there's a lot of broken English.
Oh, that's funny. That's really fucking... Wait, so this Anon, right? I mean, are they the same person as, the Trump person? So they have some bias going into it, and they don't have great English. Oh, they would fuck it up so bad, which they did, from what I'm seeing. That's so funny.
In the doc, and things are... So that I noticed you said that, like, stuff is worded very weird. That's because they don't speak English.
That would make a lot of sense. Yeah, I think for now that's all I have.
Alrighty.
Bro, is that how you expose someone like this? Like, if I had you write, I could make like the best 10 pages to expose DAGames. You've got lolly stuff, teen porn, weird jokes, all that stuff. But even this person fucked it up. Bro, it can't be that hard. I'm sorry.
Thanks for letting me talk to you.
And with that, that's the full interview. Well, technically not the full interview. Obviously, I cut out a lot of the stutters and dead air to conserve time. But unlike him, I actually asked Pixel if I could record the call and if this version was fit to be uploaded, and got a yes to both. But yeah, that's every
they all seem to be like very softball questions.
relevant thing we got. So
I don't mind that, because it seems that Pixel was the one smart person running the cool dog.
the only accusations relevant anymore are that he mismanaged his NSFW section. At one point, mods who were underage could...
Okay, wait, hold on. I want to see like his final verdict on this.
So the only accusations relevant anymore are that he mismanaged his NSFW section. At one point, mods who were underage could see the mature chat, which I think technically is different from the NSFW chat. I don't know if that makes it better though. And the lolly stuff, which as I stated before in this video and a previous video, is the solid point that they have. That's
and the team porn and the team. I'm sorry, how do you miss that so bad? Like, how do you forgive someone? Like, once again, I have to repeat this point ad nauseum. If they get the rocks off to team porn and if they have to look it up so much that it shows that as like a common result that you look up, I think that's fucked up by itself. I'm sorry.
It's the one solid confirmed thing they have that looks bad for him. There was actually one accusation I missed though in my original.
Like, he's trying to be very objective about oh, do we know that they're teens? We have no idea. I don't care. I'm gonna take the word from the mouth of the horse by itself. If he says he likes teen porn, that's it. He likes teen porn. Fucking condemn him. Deplatform him. Okay, I won't be that malicious, but I think he should be called out. Maybe not deplatformed, but fucking exposed, at least.
Coverage, and it's that Will was friends with an abuser. Now, there is verbal...
Oh, no. Fuck, no. I'm not reading all of that. No.
testimony of this, but no actual evidence, so I can't say whether or not it's true. I actually brought this up to Pixel and how this would be my stance in the video, and they said that's pretty reasonable. And in regards to...
What the fuck? Wait, there's a whole section... He's friends with an abuser, allegedly? Well, we'll go back a second.
Friends with an abuser. Now, there is verbal testimony of this, but no actual evidence, so I can't say whether or not it's true.
Okay, fair. I mean, if you want to bring it up, by itself, that's fine. I don't mind that.
I actually brought this up to Pixel and how this would be my stance in the video, and they said that's pretty reasonable. And in regards to the NSFW channel and how accessible it was for kids, I don't think Will was fine with this happening, and my reasoning is that it became prevalent after the channel was too hard to manage. It ultimately got deleted. As for the lolly stuff, That's bad, and Will should definitely respond to that pretty soon. If he does,
Okay, fair. I like that. Fair
off to
enough.
it doesn't matter. It would definitely make it worse if it was confirmed that he was like sexually aroused by this shit. But
I don't care. That makes me. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about, you know, the sexual orientation of a guy who likes lolly porn. I don't care about that.
even if he wasn't, just sending it around is bad. So around
Okay, fair enough. I mean, that sounds very different, you know, to like the other section where he paused. Yeah, he was, you know, he like, you know, oh, it's weird, but I want to know more. Like now he seems, you know, very decisive on
this
it.
video off, I'm going to be keeping tabs on the DAGames situation going forward, but I'm going to move on to other topics. I may potentially do another video sometime in the future, though, determining on what comes out. I will keep you guys updated on whether or not that's happening, so go ahead and subscribe if you want to see another one. One thing we can definitely agree on, though, is that Kim Possible is just the fucking worst. Oh my
The fucking worst. I agree with it. I mean, I think this is the end now, actually.
god, she's absolutely evil.
Yeah, okay, we're done now.
Anyway,
Oh, doggies. Yeah, again, you know, no shit against this guy, but like, this interview was not that good in my opinion. It was very softball questions, but like, okay, I have some points against, you know, this guy, because some of the questions were very basic. Like, it felt more like a conversation than an interview. Like, in an interview like this, you know, I want to see like the really big stuff, the damning sections. Like, what part does Pixel condemns, and what section is he gonna, you know, like dive into more in the updated dog. But even on Pixel's part, I feel like, you know, they could push against this guy way more, much more. Like, there was, you know, somewhat submissive on the team porn stuff, but in my opinion, I would fucking die on the hill in that section. That part is fucked by itself. So, you know, overall, you know, I guess it's good that they had like a conversation. I like that. But overall, not that much good parts, you know, came out from this. At most, you know, I'm happy to hear like that Pixel is gonna make like a new cool dog from this, what's more concise, more backed up. I like that. But overall, this interview wasn't that interesting. I mean, bro, we had a free question about KP, you know, when I think most people, I believe, you know, don't like her at all. And it's a very common consensus that they hate her. That's it. Not very interesting, in my opinion.